Happy Friday, friends! It's good to see you again. My name is Tyler. I'm a mentor here at Mohr Success and Significance. Welcome to episode 7 of your modern day mentor. Today, we're going to get into more of the deeper layers behind self-motivation and ask ourselves the question, do we know where our self-motivation comes from? Or maybe a better question, do we know where our lack of self-motivation comes from? Again, happy to be with you. My name's Tyler, part of Mohr Success and Significance. We are passionate about free enterprise and helping people create assets that can lead to more significant choices and options in their life to chase their passions. And I think a big part of that is answering the question and the puzzle and the riddle of how do we stay self-motivated, or why can't we stay self-motivated? So I'm going to give you a minute here, if you're checking in and following me live, to grab a piece of paper and a pen, maybe open up a notepad app on your phone, because we're going to get into some pretty deep stuff. And if you're on the replay, if you're watching this later, drop me a hashtag replay so I know if you're checking in, maybe where you're checking this out from. I'd be happy to connect with you. Always super fascinated about who's getting value from these podcasts. So, all right, if you are ready, I'm ready. Let's get started. So earlier in the week, and all of this week, we've been talking about self-motivation. And we've dropped some tidbits about that could be helpful for people who are looking for tips and tricks, maybe more information about how can I start to hack my brain, hack myself into getting into higher motivation states. And why maybe I may not be able to continue and sustain my self-motivation. And I think this is really, really key for the lot of you that are following us, because as we are passionate about free enterprise, multiple income streams, I know a lot of you are as well, but can we just put all the cards on the table and admit it's hard, it's tough, and it doesn't happen overnight. And you need a reserve of that self-motivation. You need a consistent flow of that self-motivation if you're going to be successful, because it's not 2 weeks in a paycheck. It's not a month in a paycheck. In many cases, it takes a little bit longer than that. Now, as we've talked about in other podcasts, the rewards and the value that you are going to get from having a residual income stream far surpass the effort that it takes, far surpass the dollars that you're actually going to earn when you have that flexibility and total control of your time. But that being said, it's still hard. It still takes some time. And so self-motivation is key to getting us through those downtimes, those valleys. And so I think it's good. This is going to be really helpful. I would encourage you guys to take some time this weekend, go through some of the reflection steps that we're going to go through today. You may think it's like just this, speaking of Halloween, maybe a little hocus pocus, just soft skills. But if you do these exercises, I think it's going to change the way you think. It's going to change the way that you understand how your brain works, how your subconscious works. And that's going to give you the power to move on. So let's dive right in. So I think all of us would agree that our success is determined by our actions. So I want you guys to write that down. Seems pretty straightforward, but I don't think that's anything too controversial. Success is determined by our actions. No actions, no success, right? Something's got to get done for something to get done. I think we can all agree on that. Okay, but most times we stop there, right? We talked about earlier this week where we set a goal and then we say, okay, this is what we need to do. And then what happens most of the time? Well, we do it maybe for a day or two, and then our actions start to wane. We start not to doing what we did a couple days before. And so we get upset with ourselves. And then we don't hit the goal. And then we get frustrated. We kind of mull around in a valley, and we get frustrated. And we say in a couple weeks or a couple months, like, nope, that's still my goal. I'm still going to do it. So I reset the goal, more grit, more effort, and we try to go change those actions to hit the goal. And then what happens again? We start to wane over time. Well, the reason for that is because as we start to go down, and this is where I want you guys to kind of write this down, our success is determined by our actions. And our actions, for many people, are determined by their feelings. What do I feel like doing today? Or I don't feel like doing it today. Can you relate? I know I definitely can. There are times when I get out of bed in the morning, or there are times when I'm going to lunch. I'm like, I'm not going back to work. I don't feel like it. It's a gorgeous day. Or on the weekend, knowing that you have to get some chores done around the house. Like, I just don't feel like it. So I think we can all relate to this sequence where our actions are determined many times by most people by our feelings. And so as we keep going down that line, so where do our feelings come from? Our feelings come from our thoughts. I think we could agree with that. Like, feelings are internal. They're part of our inner game, part of our headspace. So feelings come from our thoughts. And our thoughts, again, keep writing this down as we go down the chain. Our thoughts are typically governed by or influenced by our beliefs, our belief system. And our beliefs and our thoughts are actually then our reality, our identity, excuse me. So when we start thinking about our thoughts and our beliefs, then they become our identity. Those are the things that I want us to focus on this week when you're reflecting. So when I set my goals, what are the thoughts and the beliefs that I have around those goals? Do I 100% believe them? Why haven't I achieved them before? Can I not see myself achieve them? Do I have doubts in those goals? And then I want you to think about even further. Once you get to those beliefs, where did those beliefs come from? And I'll give you some buckets of where they more than likely are coming from. I think there's really only three. They come from our experiences. So for instance, maybe you want to lose some weight. Maybe you get more healthy. Do you see yourself in your experiences as somebody who is a fat burning machine, somebody who's disciplined in their work ethic, somebody who is disciplined in the food that they eat? Or are your experiences telling you that I'm not disciplined? I can't ever see myself as being a fat burning machine. I can't see myself as being fit. Well, those that may have been your past, right? But your past doesn't have to define your future. So the experiences that you may be having over time start to influence your actual beliefs, what you believe about yourself. And then the next two are external influences. Have you ever had this happen to you? Where you're talking with somebody, maybe a close friend, and it's innocent. They don't mean this in a poor way. But they've said to you, oh, I can't believe you did that. I didn't think you were very good at that. And they start to tell you, almost infer that you weren't good at those things. Well, if you have enough of those people around in your life telling you you're not good in these areas or you struggle in these areas, those external people and influences will start to actually program your mind. And you're like, yeah, you know what? You're kind of right. I am not good at those things. And there may be no evidence of that in your life at all, other than the fact that you have these people saying these things about you. And so we've got experiences, external, and the third one, you can probably guess it. It's internal. It's your internal programming. What do you say when you talk to yourself inside? Because believe it or not, the number one person we communicate with, we have conversations with, is ourselves. So what are the things that you're saying to yourself on a day-to-day basis about the goals that you have, right? That's what I'm talking about. So we have our experiences, what we've experienced so far, our external influences, and our internal influences. You put those things together, and those over time start to develop a belief system, start to develop concrete thoughts that you have about yourself. And that belief system, those thoughts become an identity that control your thoughts, that lead to your feelings, that control your activity, and that leads to your success. Follow me? So we talked about this then earlier in the week as well. So if you find yourself that you actually, as you do this reflection, so we talked about earlier in the week, if you haven't done this, or if you've done it, I'd ask maybe to revisit again. Take some time, take a walk, get out into nature, and start to ask yourself these questions, right? The success, what goals do I have? Why haven't I taken or been consistent with the activity on those? Is it because I feel a certain way about that activity? More than likely. Okay, so why do I feel that way about that activity? What thoughts and beliefs do I have about that? What's my identity in that activity? And if you have a gap, if you find yourself that my identity is negative or it's lower than where those goals are, that, my friends, is what I believe is why you're having a tough time achieving those goals. Because not until your identity and your thoughts, beliefs are at that level of your goals of saying, I can do it, I am that person, I just need to go do it, I think you're going to find it's an uphill road. You're constantly going to have to try to re-inspire, re-motivate yourself. But once you see yourself at that level, at that goal of saying, that's the person I am, I can perform at that level, then it's really just a matter of doing the work, the activity of that success. And actually, you'll find that that's where your self-motivation is going to come from. You're going to be motivated to do those things because you already see yourself as accomplishing that goal. So that's my wish for you to get for this week, that you will find where that identity is. You'll start doing the work of reflection, of changing those identities, changing those beliefs, or at least challenging them. That's the first step. Challenging those beliefs, those limiting beliefs that you may have, that you find as you do this exercise, and start to put together a new identity. So the final piece of this is, as you start to write down what are those items that you've been struggling with that have prevented you in the past, I want you to write the opposite. I want you to write a personal manifesto of the things that you will do, that you are doing, that the person that you really are, your true identity, and as far out as you can see. If that's next week, that's next week. If that's next year, that's next year. If that's 5 years down the road, that's 5 years down the road. But write the person that you are going to be, your beliefs, what you're doing, and repeat that to yourself. Once you have that, start reading that to yourself every day. I think if you do this, you're going to reprogram your mind to that new identity. You're going to feel great. And what it's going to lead to, this is not, like I said, this is not soft skills. This is hard, tangible things, because once you start changing those things, your feelings are going to change, then your activity is going to change. And once that activity changes, that's where you're going to get your success, and that's where you're going to get your breakthroughs. So, like I said, a lot of stuff today. Take some notes, write it down. If you have any questions on this, feel free to drop me a note in the comments. I'd love to have more conversations about this with you. I personally have done this exercise multiple times, and each time I do it, and each time I've heard other people do it, really sit down and do it, I've almost never heard somebody say that wasn't a breakthrough for them, that they didn't actually say, wow, I really discovered some things that were holding me back, that were really preventing me from achieving the things I wanted to do. I can't believe it was me, my mindset, my identity that was holding me back from achieving those things that I wanted to achieve. So I'd encourage you to do it. I think you're going to get some huge breakthroughs. When you do, circle it back with us. I'd love to hear those breakthroughs. And like always, if you have a need or you feel like you want some help going through this, check out our profile pic above, click on it. There's links in there to just schedule a call with us. We're here to help you. And if you want to continue to get all this content, our lives, our Monday morsel, our Tuesday leadership, and we also do special content for our subscribers, click on the link up there in our profile. You'll get a newsletter sent straight to your inbox every week, so you don't miss out on our content. Be happy to send that to you. So thanks again for tuning in. Until next time, wishing you all nothing but more success and significance in your life. Cheers.